Welcome you on the show. 360 Sport on Trust TV. Adeni Ajishafe. You just saw there Liverpool. They did their own against Luton Town, defeating them there. Good one for Liverpool. Right now, we'll be starting the show with that particular story. Premier League, Liverpool beat Luton to move 4 points clear. Right now, they're at least having 60 points ahead of Manchester City, who are trailing them behind. And right now, we'll be looking at so much football stories this hour. But I have in the studio someone who are actually been in football, sport development, football business, and everything. Right now, will be joining us in the studio to talk football this hour. Good to have you, the FA chairman of Kogi State, in the person of State-wada. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me on your show. It's a privilege.
Yes, I'm sure you follow Premier League. You saw Liverpool well up in Luton Town there.
Yes, I'm a big fan of Real Madrid, but from time to time I try to catch up with the Premier League.
Okay, a good one there. We're talking about Luton Town being defeated by Liverpool there, but we go to the big one. Well, the big one that happened yesterday had to do with Champions League, UCL, as some people call it. Osimhen, our main man, the one they call Lion of Africa, back to how he used to do it. He actually scored yesterday for his team, Napoli, in that particular encounter. UCL, a big one there. Let's look at that story. UCL, Osimhen scores as Napoli hold Barcelona. It was a big one after Lewandowski scored first. Well, he was able to at least pull one back there in that particular encounter that ended 1-1 draw in that game. Good one for Osimhen. Osimhen is back to winning, and Nigerians are happy to see him getting that particular goal for his team.
Yeah, you know, coming out of AFCON where he scored a goal, many were beginning to question his scoring prowess. But yesterday he proved to the world again that he's the biggest upcoming football brand in Africa by scoring when it mattered the most. So a credit to his style of play and his confidence as a footballer.
Well, talking about Osimhen really showing class there, getting to score that goal against Barcelona. It was a big one for him, beating that defender and crossing the ball past that goalkeeper. Good one for Victor Osimhen, the current player of the year for the whole African continent. They are celebrating Victor Osimhen, although himself and Lewandowski had to share the sport for Barcelona and Napoli in that particular encounter. They are talking about UEFA Champions League result. Well, another game that was played. Big one talking about UEFA result there. Well, good one for Napoli. They were able to win, and you just can't take anything away from them. But the fact that they were able to get a draw away, they're playing against Barcelona in that particular encounter. Now, still talking about matches played yesterday. Europa Conference League knockout result. A match was also played there. Ghent was able to play 1-0 against Maccabi Haifa. Piero scoring for Maccabi. Sek getting an own goal against his team there. Well, it actually ended 2-1 aggregate in favor of Maccabi Haifa in that particular encounter. Just to give you updates concerning those matches played yesterday. And right now, let's talk about our women. Matches were also played. We look at the result of the NWFL Match Day 9. Fixtures of the result of those games played yesterday. We have Match Day 9 result. Delta Queens defeated Ekiti Queens 2-1. Olabi Folajomi scoring, Maureen Opala and Oketete Rachel making it 1 goal for Ekiti Queens. Nasarawa Amazon 5 against Nigeria Tels. They went on rampage. Ogiovi Kesiana scoring the brace. Mosaku Bisola, Gina Ado, Showali Olushola getting those goals for Nasarawa Amazons. Bayelsa Queen rather, they won their game 2-0 against Sunshine Queens. Divine Onwuchekwa and Rose Ekang scoring those 2 goals for Bayelsa Queens as they defeated Sunshine Queens. Adamawa Queens 2, Abia Angels 1. Blessing Sule, Florence Oyinyechi and Rose Additional getting those goals, 3 goals. They share there, 2 for Adamawa, 1 for Abia Angels. Rivers Angels 2, Remo Stars 0. In that game where Blessing Okpe and Adugbe Olamide scoring those goals there. Royal Queens and Heartland Queens shared this, but 0-0 it ended for Danas Ladies of Lagos. 4-2. They defeated Confluence Queens in that game. 4-2. Zainab Raji, Fatima Sholati, Olaomi Akintola, Farike Moses scoring for Danas Ladies. Daniela Fagbinro and Mary Mahmood getting the 2 goals for Conference Queens there in that game. Even though Conference Queens has been doing well in this competition, they lost this last match that they played. Robo Queens of Lagos, they peeped Edo Queens 1-0 courtesy of Oladipo Shukurat. Talking about matches that went down yesterday across Nigeria in the Match Day 9 of the Nigerian Women Football League there. Well, a big one across Nigeria. See how many goals that were scored in that particular encounter. Congrats to all the teams that actually won. And for those that actually lost, but at least they have another time to make up for it. Although we'll be talking about Conference Queens later. But before we go to Conference Queens, the man that has been with us in the studio, like I said earlier, is the FA chairman. That is Football Association Chairman of Kogi State. State-wada is here with us. We'll be talking about Kogi sport, rather football. But before we talk about Kogi, let's start with Nigeria. Recently, just very, very recent, Eagles, they lost out against Cote d'Ivoire in the final. I'm sure you were in Cote d'Ivoire.
Yes, I was actually in Cote d'Ivoire for almost a month, starting from the group stages to the knockout stages and to the final. So I was there with the team. Okay, let's run you through Eagles now. Let's talk about Eagles' performance briefly and also looking at ahead for Eagles. Well, you know, prior to the tournament, we had some very unfavorable results. So the confidence in the team was lacking from the Nigerian populace. And if you look at our history since we won in 2013 in South Africa, we've not really had a very comfortable showing, the Nigerian showing that we're used to. In 2015, we didn't qualify. 2017, we didn't qualify for the tournament. In Egypt in 2019, we got to the semi-finals where we lost to Algeria and eventually came out as the third best team on the continent. And in Cameroon, we barely got out of we didn't make it out of the second round. We lost to Tunisia by a long goal. So coming into this tournament, many didn't give the team a chance. But I always tell people that Nigeria is a tournament team. If you look at our records, the last time we lost by 2 goals was in the 1984 finals against Cameroon. Interestingly, it also took place in Abidjan. So going into the tournament, I looked at our personnel and I knew that as a country we had the talent base. All we just needed to do was switch to tournament mode. And we've proved to Nigerians again that the Super Eagles are probably the strongest and most domineering brand in Africa. Coming out of this tournament, people now know that Nigeria can defend. I'm confident that by the time we inject 1 or 2 quality attacking midfield talents, we'll probably win the next AFCON in Morocco and possibly do very, very well in the World Cup. I'm optimistic we'll qualify for the World Cup. I love the way you actually ended there because if you look at it, it's not only the AFCON, we're talking about World Cup too. Yes. And we actually started the qualifiers and we've seen teams like South Africa, Benin Republic trying to see how they can stop us. But looking at, you mentioned when we can get in 1 or 2 attacking midfielder, we know our midfield has been the biggest problem we have. In fact, in this tournament, nobody to distribute the ball, nobody to set all the frontline players, those passes, those killer passes that would make them to easily score. We couldn't have it. Although, could it be tactics or aside that, we didn't even go to the competition with a number 10. Let's tell ourselves the truth. Yes. If you are to be the coach of Eagles, what would you do now? You see, football is a very dynamic sport. What I've observed is that Nigerians are still struggling to get over the era of JJ Okocha. So we expect that season in, season out, we must have a replica of the JJ Okochas. But football is a dynamic sport. You look at it at the club level, you look at it at the national team level. France don't have a Zidane, but they've made it, they've won the World Cup, they've come runner-up again in the World Cup. So we must get over the fact that we don't have a JJ Okocha. Well, looking at our performance at the Nations Cup, it was a 2-pronged approach. Number 1 for me was tactics. Number 2 was the quality of personnel we had. The coach looked at his personnel and came up with a formation that will suit his personnel. You know, you cannot play a formation that when you know you don't have the right personnel. So, but right now, I know that there are frantic efforts to attract 1 or 2 quality attacking talents to the national team. I understand that Eberechi Eze of Crystal Palace and Olis of Crystal Palace, they're already looking to see how they can attract them to the national team. You see, this performance at the Nations Cup is good for Nigeria because now a lot of Nigerians in diaspora who are having question marks on whether to commit to the national team, now they understand that, you know what, the Nigerian brand is a strong brand. The fear factor is back into the national team. Whomsoever we're playing, be it in Africa or be it outside Africa, they will be worried now that they are playing Nigeria. So I think that the coach will improve on his tactics and most likely we'll get some of the quality attacking football which we are looking forward to.
Hopefully, we'll actually get it now. We've been talking with Hassan Wada, FA Chairman, Kogi State. And right now, we'll be going to Kogi State now. Let's go back home where the chickens are actually roosting. Kogi State, they call the state Confluence State. And if you look at the Nigerian map, really, that state holds the whole country together because it's at the middle. Now, being the middle of the park of this whole state, take us through Kogi State's football development.
Yes, you know, naturally, there are a lot of expectations, because, like you said, we're at the center of the country. You know, we came on board on the 9th of November 2023, and we came on board with a lot of expectations. You know, FA elections are normally rancorous, but at the end of the day, once you emerge, it's your duty to try and bring together the warring parties so that you can achieve your own goals as a chairman and a board. So when I came on board, I made it clear to the board and also the football stakeholders that we must shift. There must be a shift in the way the FA is managed. There must be a shift in the goals and targets of the Football Association. When you say Kogi State, people often talk about just Confluence Queens and Kogi United, Confluence Queens and Kogi United. People tend to forget that these are just club sides. We can have 100 club sides in the state. So if we have 100 club sides, are we going to be talking about 100 club sides? So the job of the FA is football management, football administration in the state. It's not about club management. The clubs are supposed to key into the FA's activities to see how it can improve on their overall activities as a club. So right now as a board, first and foremost, our agenda is to see how we can revive grassroots football. And how can we do that? We're targeting the under-15s. Our belief is that at any given point in time, when you approach the state and say you're looking for the best quality talents in Kogi State, we should say, okay, these are our upcoming stars. Because when I leave, by the time my tenure as an FA chairman is done, I want to look back and say, what legacy did I leave behind? The legacy I left behind is to say, during my time, we developed quality young talents who are playing in the national team, who are playing for some of the best club sides in Nigeria, who are playing outside the country. I mean, you know, on the national team, the Super Eagles team that went to Abidjan, the only home-based player, Olonruleke Ojo, who was one of the goalkeepers on the team, is from Kogi State. And it's a credit to us that when we look at his trajectory, we can trace his trajectory to when he was playing at the secondary schools in our state. From there, he started playing for club sides. Today, he's the captain of Eimba. He was the sole ambassador for the home-based players on the national team. So it's a credit to us. So we are talking to him. We have come up with a program called Play Football, Promote Unity. The aim is to get young people playing football, and we're going to use it to bring our state together so that we can achieve the common goal of peace, unity, and development. And how will I do that? Secondary schools. That's where football ought to be played. Today, what you have is that the academies have taken over the developmental role of football in the country, and it's not helping our national teams. There's no reason why you should look at the under-17s today for the national team, and when you look at their background, that they're tied to academies. Their background should be tied to secondary schools. If I tell you today that there are 3 players from your secondary school on the national team, it will be a thing of pride to you, because you say, oh, how can I give back to my secondary school? If my secondary school can produce national team junior players, then I must see how I can contribute. Remember the golden days of St. Finbas,
in Lagos.
Igbobi College.
Igbobi College,
you know, those were great institutions.
College,
yes, I went to Federal Government College Sokoto. We had 1 or 2 players that were invited to the under-17 camp of the time of Kanu Wanko and Co. in under-17 of 1993. We had 2 players, a goalkeeper and a midfielder. It was a thing of pride for us to say that, you know what, there was an opportunity for our own footballers to participate in the national team project. But today what you have is that they are strictly academies. So it means if you set up your academy, you have the right connections, not necessarily the best players. You can find a way to get your players into the national teams. The NFF of Alhaji Ibrahim Gusau, his focus is aimed at developing the grassroots. I mean, we had a meeting with him the other day, and he has challenged all FA chairmen in the country. Go back to your states, start working on developing under-15 talents. You must set up under-15 competitions, because eventually, after the next under-17 tournament, which is going to be in 2025, FIFA's plan is to make sure that every year there will be an under-17 World Cup. And how do you provide talents for under-17 World Cup? It's from the under-15s. because year in, year out, they are growing by age, and they will have to now graduate into the under 17. And eventually, each state is going to have its own under 15 squad, and they are going to be they will have the state squad, you have the regional squad, then you have the national under 15 squad. You understand? So for us as an FA, we're committed to keying into the agenda of the Nigerian Football Federation.
A big one there coming from state-wada, that's the Kogi State Football Association chairman. He's talking about developing football in Nigeria. In fact, taking Kogi State into cognizance. And right now, he said under 15, that's the key. You also have to catch them young, looking at the secondary school football, where we can go back to the good olden days, where the likes of Mokachi were actually still secondary school. Good one. Well, we've been talking concerning football development in Kogi State. Right now, we digress a bit. As we mentioned that we have so many clubs in Kogi State, but even though two that seems to be higher, you can't take anything away from Kogi United, Confluence Queens. The two teams, there's no way you will talk about all the teams now. They seem to be the two flagship teams of the state. Let's start with Kogi United. As the FA, you are in charge of football administration there. What are you doing to see how that team can come back to NNL and probably MPFL?
Well, you know, historically, Kogi United has been a strong team. You know, from 2011 to somewhere around 2016, 2017, there was stable management, and the management were able to position the team for Premier League promotion. I think on 2 or 3 occasions, 3 seasons or so, we needed a point to get into the Premier League, but unfortunately we couldn't get that, you know, and we remained at the NNL. 1 or 2 issues here and there affected the team, and suddenly now we find ourselves playing in the amateur. But I'm already in communications with the management of the team. Our target is to reposition the team so that at least we have a 5-year plan, and the ultimate goal is to get into the Premiership. On Monday, I led a team of Super Eagles members who participated in the AFCON to go and visit our governor, Alhaji Usman Ododo. You know, interestingly, we have 3 members on the team: the goalkeeper, Olorunleke Ojo, the team manager, Mr. Enebi Acho, and the chief security officer to the Super Eagles, Adejo Francis Musa. So I led them, and in part of my presentation to the governor, I made him understand that we have a fantastic sporting facility in Lokoja, the Confluence Stadium. It's I think 30,000 seater capacity. Without Premier League football in Lokoja, that facility will never actualize its full potentials. But by the time we start bringing teams like Kano Pillars, Eimba, Remo Stars, Sporting Lagos and Co to Lokoja, it will now revive the interest people have in football. And before you know what's happening, the stadium will be filled to capacity week in, week out. And who knows, we might get an opportunity to even participate in intercontinental competitions. You never know. Zamalek of Egypt might end up being in Lokoja. But before that can happen, we must be in the Premier League. So we're working with the team to develop a 5-year plan where Kogi United will be in the Premier League. And also, I'm already talking to interested parties. You see, it's only in Nigeria that we tie a team to a stadium. In other parts of the world, you see that one stadium can accommodate 6 teams.
Of course.
You understand? So I'm already talking to 1 or 2 persons to say, see, you have the resources. This is the massive potential in football. We have a fantastic facility in Lokoja. There's an opportunity for you to own a team. We'll give you the template. In the next 4 years, 5 years, you'll be in the Premier League. It will help promote your brand. It will help generate income. Do you know the amount of money involved in football in the world? Why can't Kogi State participate in the football economy? So ultimate goal is that Kogi United will get to the Premier League. And if possible, we have 2 or 3 additional teams who will be playing competitive football, NNL and the Premier League. But give us a few years time, give us a few years, Kogi United will reclaim its privileged position in the league of quality football teams in Nigeria.
Now, taking that from you, you talked about the women football Confluence Queens. In fact, this season, they've really tried their best. They are doing well. Now, they play away at Iyamo, right? That's Edo State University pitch. Is there any way, or you are trying to see how they can come back home to be playing their football matches?
Know, I want to suspect that someone gave you expo some of the pointers I discussed with the governor on Monday when I visited him in Lokoja. Yes, you see, the average lifespan of an AstroTurf pitch is 10 years. The pitch we have today at the Confluence Stadium in Lokoja was, I think, laid somewhere around 2012, 2013. So it has outlived its lifespan. So part of the discussions I had with the governor, you know, I catered to his human feelings. I said, see, Your Excellency, your daughters have to drive to Edo State
to go and play
football. And you know the wear and tear it takes on their bodies and everything. And he assured us that he will ensure that the pitch is redone, and hopefully by the grace of the Almighty God, later on in the year, our teams should be back in Lokoja, playing football in Lokoja.
Okay, good one. That's a big promise there. Hopefully, Confluence Queen should be back to Lokoja to at least ply their trade in women football, because right now that teams really, they are trying their best. If you check the northern side of Nigeria, Confluence Queens, Nasarawa Amazon, Adamawa Queens, those are the three teams making waves, and also Nigeria Tel. So Confluence Queens deserve to come back home and play their football. Now let's talk briefly, just briefly. I'm sure since you took over in 2023, there are problems you discovered that is really holding down the movement of football development in Kogi State.
Well, you know, leadership comes with its positives and its negatives. No matter how smooth a ride seems to be, there will always be challenges. But you see, as a person, I try not to focus on the negatives. I always think of the positives. Even if it is one you can achieve out of 50, at least you've made a significant milestone. Yes, change is very difficult. You must think of my age. I don't fit into the age bracket of, in quote, the age bracket of a person that should be chairman of a football association. But if you look at the political leadership in our state for the past couple of years, the younger breeds are now taking over the polity. So it was just a matter of time before it happened in football. So that was the most significant combat I had to face. The question was that you are too young to be an FA chairman. You must wait for your time. You must this, you must that, and all of that. But I also tell them, I said, okay, if I'm too young to be an FA chairman, what of the former governor of the state, Governor Yaya Bello? Was he too young to be a governor? He's done 2 terms of 8 years. The current governor too is also a young man within my age bracket. So the transition too must take place in the FA. So that gave me a lot of courage. And I said, you know what, whatever it is, you know, I will fight this fight. And fortunately, I won. And we've reconciled with our, in quote, our opponents, and we're moving forward. You might also want to know that I was also a vice chairman of the Football Association. So it's not as if I just fell from the sky and came aboard and became chairman of the Football Association. I've been in the system for a while. You know, I just was able to navigate the turny waters to emerge as an FA chairman.
Okay, big one there. If you're just joining us, we've been talking with Wada, Kogi State Football Association chairman, and he has been giving us insight to development of football in Kogi State. And before we go, this will be the last piece on it. You know, there's a way you drive home all these plans. Your relationship with media matters a lot, because they are the one that will at least publicize whatever you are doing. What's the relationship like? What are the terms to make sure Kogi State football development goes viral?
Yes, you know, when dealing with the media, one must be very, very sensitive. We have our own home-based media in Kogi State. Then we have our foreign-based media.
Like
that's
us.
You guys in Abuja. So I must balance both sides, because the last thing you need is to aggravate your home-based media. I've met with the Nigerian Union of Journalists team in Lokoja. I've presented my plans to them. Interestingly, they've also keyed into our agenda. So whatever I do, I try to make sure that there's synergy. We also have our own media team, but also I'm careful not to over-project, because we're in a system where when people aspire, they make a lot of promises. But when it's time to deliver, they are found wanting. So I'm careful not to over-project, because I know that when you occupy a position driven by ambition, a time will come when I'll be thinking of a second term. When that time comes and I say, okay, maybe I want to go for a second term, I should be able to say, okay, this was what I said on TV, and this was what I delivered. So I'm careful not to over-project. We're working step by step to see how we can actualize our goals. Like I mentioned to you, we have a campaign which will kick off later on in the year. Play football, promote unity, targeted at the grassroots, the young players, primary schools, secondary schools. We want to get them playing quality football. We use football to bring them together. We'll have a league for that. The league will now culminate into the Governor's Cup. So the day we're playing the finals of the Governors' Cup, what you will see is a united Kogi where young people are playing football. On a last note, I would like to encourage the middle class and upper class of the Nigerian society. Football is no more a sport for poor people. If you look at the money involved in football, you look around the world, many of the top players in the world didn't come from poverty, especially in Europe, South America, and Co. These are children of middle class people and wealthy people. Reason being that they've seen the economic potentials in football, and also football is no more a game of just having skills. Football requires brain work. With quality education and the skill, you will achieve your potential. So I'm calling on the Nigerian middle class and upper class. They must get their kids involved in sports.
Good one there. We just have to stop him because if we give him the chance now. Good one. Well, state-wada has been with us, Kogi State FA chairman. He'd actually been talking football development in Kogi State. We want to appreciate your time with us. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. It's an honor. It's a privilege. I never knew Daily Trust had a TV station, but I'm so happy that, you guys are doing very, very well. Congratulations.
Thank you so much for that. I'm Adeniyi Ajishafe. As we always say, that sport is business and fitness. Thanks for watching.